This is a GoHamRadio.com exclusive.
Hey, we're here. I'm Miss Fancy Pants. Thank you for joining us for another exclusive interview. I've got DJ Roscoe in the building. He's on a ones and twos. He's going to be help delivering the music tonight as we interview the one and only 7 Octoberz. She's got her sophomore album, her sophomore EP out, and we're going to be talking to her a little bit about that. We're going to give you a sneak preview on a few songs off of that 7-track EP that released on November 20th. So we're going to ask her all about that, about how she's been doing during COVID, because I think it's been about a year since we have talked. Man, it's been a while. So until we get right into our interview, I want you guys to collect the vibes of Spooky Gang. She does represent Spooky Gang, so we're going to be playing a few artists from them. Shout out to Yazzie. Shout out to Smalls Uno. Shout out to Mike Mackey. Shout out to the whole crew. You know, San Diego, Spooky Gang. Go Ham Radio supports you, give an opportunity, hope, and mentorship. So, in the meantime, before we get to the interview, why don't you guys get your vibe on with DJ Roscoe, get your vibe on with Spooky Gang a little bit, roll something up, get you a drink, get you a snack, take your piss, do what you gotta do, because we're gonna be here tapped in for the next hour here on GoHamRadio.com, where you're gonna hear independent and major artists. And tonight we are featuring 7 Octoberz. So tap into the music. We'll be right back. I'm Miss Fancy Pants. Welcome back. I'm Miss Fancy Pants, and we are sitting down for an exclusive interview here on GoHamRadio.com with the one and only 7 Octoberz.
Hey, what's
hey,
up? Thank you for
welcome
having
to the
me.
hot seat. I mean, it's not really a hot seat. It's kind of cold right now. Wintertime, it's like 50 degrees outside. It's pretty cold out here in Southern California. Now, we got you here to talk about your latest album. Now, I've probably been butchering it.
It is a difficult title.
So, from Chibala to Aztlan.
Yeah, so it's from Chibalba to Aztlan.
See, I was
You were
pretty
close.
I was
Yeah.
pretty close.
You were the closest one that's gone to it, so you're good.
I won the cookie. From Chibalba to Aztlan. And this and it's got a female warrior on the front. For those of you who are listening, it's her sophomore album. It's like the Aztec pyramid. Is that what that is in the background?
Yeah, so it's an Aztec pyramid, and there's a jaguar warrior. Usually they were male, but I wanted to like represent me, so it's a female. Yeah.
I mean, I'm down with that. I'm super down with that. And you've got the what is it? The temple, is that what it is?
Yes.
It's on fire. There's fire all around. And what is that supposed to represent?
I just thought about it like as far as like all the stuff, like the trauma that like my ancestors been through, and kind of like, so the album's supposed to be from like a positive to a negative. So Chibalba, it's like a mythical underworld in Mayan lore, and then Aztlan has kind of two meanings. It's where Mexico used to be, kind of like if the Aztecs would have continued their reign, or where they wanted to expand. So what I did, and it's kind of like a paradise considered Aztlan. So from Chibalba, it's kind of like going like from a hell underworld to Aztlan, which is like a paradise. So from positive to negative.
And is this, I mean, this is your heritage. Is this also the journey that you're going on personally? That you're channeling?
Exactly, yeah. So I'm always, I kind of like Biggie says, it's all good, you know, it's like from positive to, you know, from negative to positive. So yeah, definitely.
And 7 Octoberz, you've got 7 tracks on here.
Yes.
Purposeful for that 7 tracks,
Yes.
7 Octoberz.
Yeah.
Is 7 your lucky number? Or I guess, is that how 7 Octoberz came? Or how did that?
So it's kind of like a double meaning. So 7 Octoberz is like my favorite number and my favorite month because I'm a horror fan. But it's also actually the day that my grandma actually passed away in 2014. Rest in peace to Rafael Ojeda. She was like a big impact in my life. She is the reason I love music and movies. And horror movies specifically, because we used to watch like Mexican horror movies together, and even like Mexican like golden era, which they call it Época de Oro. So that's how I fell in love with music. Like I fell in love with like mariachi music first, and then went from there. But I wanted to pay homage to her, so that was kind of like I was like that would be a perfect name as an artist.
So she passed away on October 7th.
Yes,
2014. You said.
Yeah.
So is that when you started to come out with music, or when did you decide that this is your name and this is the identity that you want to start to take on?
So the name, it had come across for me, like I think I want to say like 2016, like right before I like quit my career job, because I was working in criminal justice field. So I had quit. I had thought about the name and I just left it there. I wrote it like on a notebook. And I was doing music, like putting on SoundCloud and stuff like that, but I never thought about it like as a career or anything like that. So then
more just like an artistic outlet.
Yeah, exactly. So like a passion of mine and then a hobby. So then in 2017, I decided to quit my job and I was like, I'm done. And I decided to focus more on myself. And that's when I decided, I was like, well, I'm going to start making music. So then 7 Octoberz came back up. And then in 2018, I was like, I'm going to start a blog because I talked about hip hop and horror already. So I was like, why not just start like a platform? So I started Nightmare on Sedgwick Avenue. And that's when I was like, okay, what's going to be, I can't have that as my username and Instagram. It's too long, right?
A couple of places for errors and misprints and all of that. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
So then I was like, I need to have a shorter name. So then I was like 7 Octoberz, and then it just kind of went from there. And then people started calling me 7 Octoberz. So yeah,
7 for short, or does
people call me 7. Yeah, people call me 7, like the Spooky Gang people, my fam over there.
Right. So when did you join the Spooky Gang? I mean, is it something that you created, or how did the affiliation from like a horror lover fan to now part of Spooky Gang?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy how everything kind of like aligned. But so it kind of started with Yazi. So Yazi, a shout out to her. I started going to the SD Music Room in like March of 2019. And through that, I think I started following other artists. And one of them was Smalls Uno. Shout out to Smalls Uno. He's the creator pretty much, or like the founder of Spooky Gang, because he's the one that drew the ghost and everything. That's all him. I reviewed one of his albums. I hadn't even met him in person yet. I just saw it on social media, I think like on Instagram. And I was like, okay, I'm going to show love because I really liked the project. It was called Beast Mode. And I was like, okay, I'm going to review it. And then he DM'd me and he was like, hey, thank you so much. And I was like, okay, cool. So then we kind of started like a little like friendship there. And then I went to my first like hip hop show like alone, because I was going to like hip hop weds, but like local, like actual like artist.
Hip hop Wednesdays at the AC Lounge.
At the AC Lounge. So I actually went to this show until 2. It was like a grimy kind of like New York rappers were there. So like Etho, Jamal Gasol, like a lot of those underground New York rappers.
What the name of the show was? Was it a Taste the Break show? Or
no, it was. I know Kali was hosting it. I can't remember what the actual show was called, but it was at Till 2, the bar at Till 2. And I was gonna go alone, but then I hit up Smalls and Sick Rick. Shout out to Sick Rick, his brother. I was like, hey, I'm going. Like, are you guys gonna be there? They're like, yeah. And I hadn't met him before, so I was like, do you guys mind if I like tag along, because I don't want to go solo? So they like kept me company, and then from there, like we started adding different members. Some people are still there. Some people have gone to do their own brands and everything. And then I think right now it's like maybe 12, 13 of us. I can't remember. It's too many to count. But yeah, like shout out to the whole Spooky Gang. So yeah,
12 or 13.
Yeah,
you said you started off with like 17, right?
Yeah, we started with like 17, 18. I can't remember. It was like a large number.
That is huge.
Yeah.
Like a huge collective.
Yeah, it was like, producers, rappers, everything. So we all support each other, like reshare our stuff. So it's kind of cool to have like that support team. Yeah.
And you guys, 12 or 13 together, that's still a lot. Do you have certain individuals or certain members that are designated for certain things? Like, do you have certain members that are rappers, certain ones that are producers, mixing, mastering, whatever it is? Or do you have a lot of members that just kind of do a whole bunch of everything?
Yeah, so I think I would say I'm like the one that kind of is like a jack of all trades, because I have like my blog, my podcast, and then I'm starting to do music now. And then we also have like Milky Wayne, who's like an OG. He's a producer. Mike Mackey too. He just put out his actual EP with his instrumentals. He's doing production. Shan Black's like an MC, but he's also like an entrepreneur. So he's kind of like the one that's kind of been helping us with like branding the Spooky Gang. So he's been doing like hoodies, all that stuff. So shout out to him for doing that as well, and like setting up
hoodie season.
Yeah. So go to Waves in the Tide, and then he's been doing like photography sessions for us too. So that kind of put us out there a little bit more. Sick Rick is like a dope MC. Same thing for Smalls Uno. Obviously, he's the founder of Spooky Gang. And then we got, who else? Like, I don't know. So many people like,
I know, I'm like,
Speakeasy.
I was like, wow, she's really going to go through all 12. Go ahead. It's like a test. Like, name all the kids' names.
Rob Broccoli. Like, yeah. So they're producers too. So yeah, it's like a lot of dope people on there.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, I want to talk about the things that you do. You offer many dynamics, not just to Spooky Gang, but to the art and entertainment world altogether. You do, you left your career to do more of the music and entertainment aspect, writing, music, podcast, talking. what made you switch from wanting to quit your job in whatever field it was to transition to doing this as your main focus?
So I still have a 9 to 5. So I wish I was making money off of this, but I'm not. But so
are you still doing 9 to 5 during COVID? And,
yes.
You know, they work at home?
Work from home. Yeah. So it's crazy. So I quit in 2017 criminal justice, and I'm doing nothing that has to do with criminal justice.
Okay.
I'm in insurance. So
essential, right?
Yeah, right. And so it works for me because soon, like in March, as soon as COVID hit, they sent us home. So I just work from home. I work like 8 to 5 type of job. I get along well with my boss, so shout out to her too, because she supports like my music and everything. So it's allowed me to be able to do this, which the other job didn't, because it was the 8 to 5 type of job, but it's criminal justice, so I was like working 12-hour days.
Right.
So I didn't have a life.
And I'm sure you probably thought about it like after work. Just,
exactly.
It's not like something you could just kind of turn off. Insurance, it's like, I'm done answering calls. I'm done selling.
Yeah, exactly. So what I do is like I got kind of promoted to supervisor. So we do like a call center.
Congratulations.
So, thank you.
Okay.
So I'm like thriving there too. So
Awesome.
so it's helped me like pretty much have like more time management. So once, like you said, I'm off. Like I'm done for the day, and then I can focus like after hours. I have like my second job, quote unquote, which is like the whole music thing, which is like the podcast that I do, Nightmare on Sedgwick, and then the blog, same name. And then I'm part of Platform Collection, so shout out to them too, like Kill C. Ray, OG Hip Hop Eddie, and Parker.
And I see on here that Kill C. Ray actually mixed and mastered your album, right?
Yes, he did.
Mixed and mastered them, and the producers are I Above, Poncho, and Speakeasy, Mike Mackey, and Mindframe.
Yes.
Mindframe, am I reading that correct?
Yes, that is.
It's kind of in like an old English kind of.
I did it intentionally.
Right, like, okay, let me. It's like
the whole Chicano, like old English, you know?
I love it. Oh, I didn't even realize this erotic picture on the back. Wow.
Yeah, it's intentional too, so we can talk about that.
Ooh, okay, well, let's talk about the nastiness on the back. Okay, for those of you who are watching, take a look. She got some nasty erotic. It's what you would see on the front of like the romance books of, you know, Fabio, and yes, she has all of that. Okay, so tell me about this, Miss Nasty, Miss 7 October. Tell me.
So it's actually supposed to be like more romantic than erotic, but
okay, romantic. Okay, I see where my head's at.
So,
romantic.
So that's like a popular painting for people like familiar with it. It's a portrait of I can't pronounce the girl's name. It's Itza, but it's like a long name, and Popocatépetl, which it's actually 2 volcanoes in Puebla in Mexico.
Okay.
And they did kind of like a legend based on the volcanoes because it looks like they're laying on each other.
Oh, okay.
So it's like a love story, kind of like a Romeo and Juliet. He was an Aztec warrior, and she's like a warrior or like a princess, pretty much. And she thinks he died at war, and then when she kind of like I think dies of sadness, and he comes back, but she's she has passed away. So that's kind of like a foreshadow for my next project. Is gonna be a love EP. So I kind of wanted to do like kind of like little breadcrumbs because I'm a huge like movie fan. So if you look at My God of My Destiny, which was my first EP, on the back it has,
we got both albums for those of you who are watching.
It has a picture of the pyramid, which kind of foreshadowed the second EP was from Chivalba to Aslan, which is kind of like I didn't unintentionally, but it kind of ended up happening that way. So it's kind of cool. So like little breadcrumbs. So I kind of want to do that for every EP. Like I want to do concept albums.
Okay, I love it. I love it. Ooh, and I love movies and horror. What's your favorite horror film?
I have a lot, but like if I would say like my top one would probably be an American Werewolf in London.
Ooh, yeah. Okay. Because you have some symbolism with Freddy Krueger. I didn't know if that was one of your favorites.
That's like a top 5 for sure, yeah.
That was definitely the one that scared me. That one and Jaws were probably the two that it was hard for me to sleep at night when I thought about them. Oh my goodness. So you've got 7 God of My Destiny. You have 7 tracks as well.
Yes.
7 tracks on this one. Can we assume that all your all of the work that you put out is going to be 7-track EPs?
Not necessarily. I think the next one might be longer. I don't know. I'm still like debating. I just like the 7 because it's like my favorite number, but it's also good because people's attention span is kind of short now. So it's like perfect. So you can just put it on repeat,
Definitely. And the names, you've given us probably about 3-4 tracks.
4.
How many? 4 tracks, DJ. 4 tracks out of 7. So that's a good amount. We're going to have you guys listen to a few of those. The 4 that you gave us, what is your favorite? Do you have a favorite track on here?
Well, I love all of them, but like the like I have like top 2, I guess you can say, is Generational Curses. A lot of people love that one. Shout out to Mindframe. He's from New York, producer. He produced that beat. So I love that one. And then Satanico Pandemonium, which shout out to Pancho. He did the beat on that one. That one's like the more horror inspired. So I had to have some sort of horror in there. So that's like the one that's kind of like based on From Dusk Till Dawn, the vampire movie.
Yes. Roscoe, you saw that movie not too long ago, huh? From Dusk Till Dawn. I had him watch that. And he was just like, what is this? I was like, it's kind of scary. You're not going to think. And the beginning, he was like, what is this weird movie? I was like, man, it gets weirder. It does a whole twist you're not even ready for.
Yeah.
What a dope concept. Roscoe, do you have either of those? Do
I think I gave them both. I think I gave you guys both.
Satanico Pandemonium.
Yeah.
Ooh. For sure. Okay, well, why don't we play Satanico Pandemonium?
And it's a mouthful.
Right? I'm getting it.
That's the name of the character, though. Salma Hayek's character in the movie. That's her name.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, yeah, Roscoe, why don't you give them a little sneak peek? We don't necessarily need to play the whole song because this is available on all streaming platforms,
yes.
right? So we want to encourage you to go out, stream the entire album, and if they wanted to potentially download it, buy it, where would they be able to do that at?
Bandcamp. So 7 Octoberz everything, and then they can also hit me up. I have physical CDs too.
Okay, what's the price for the physicals?
I'm just selling them for $10, and then I also have bundles. So I have a T-shirt that I'm wearing.
Ooh,
that watch the video.
The swag. I need to know what's in a swag bag. Okay, for
sure.
You get a shirt. You get
a CD.
The CD.
You get a couple stickers and a magnet. So yeah.
Okay, and what's the swag bag for? What does it cost?
Right now it's going for $35.
Ooh, see, that's not too bad. $35 is a good price point. Good stocking stuffer, and we're about to give you a sneak preview. So, DJ, why don't you play that number 3, Satanico Pandemonium, and let's get our vibe for tonight, all right? We're here with 7 Octoberz. I'm Miss Fancy Pants. We've got an exclusive interview right here on GoHamRadio.com. Let's get to the music, DJ.
I'm not going to drain you completely. You'll be my slave. Because I don't think you're worthy of human blood. You'll feed on the blood of stray dogs. You'll be my footstool. And at my command, you lick the dog shit from my boot heel. Since you'll be my dog, your new name will be Spud. Welcome to slavery.
Satanico Pandemonium. Use my fangs to murder, ya yo soy la diosa, los demonios no me controlan, soy culebra, una azteca, soy la reina adicta a la sangre, es mi condena, una heroína como Lola, la trailera, sangre maya en mis venas, soy la morenita, una indígena bonita, I am deadly, I'm your enemy, fuck being friendly, the darkness lives within me, I lurk in the shadows, you can't see me.
Welcome back. I'm Miss Fancy Pants. Those were 2 tracks off of 7 October's sophomore album, From Chihuahua to Atlan. Am I saying that decent enough?
Close enough, yeah.
Say it correctly.
From Chivalba to Aslan.
Thank you very much for correcting me appropriately. So, Savage Bloodline, obviously, and even it does still have that spooky feel to it. Just the tracks of it. It's like your warrior motivational music. What motivates you or what inspires you to get into the booth, in the studio, in your notebook, to be able to write these lyrics to the songs?
It just depends on the mood I'm in, and then I get inspired out by the music I listen to, movies I watch too. So a lot of it you'll see I drop little references. If you're a movie buff or a music buff, you'll catch those references. But that's pretty much what inspires me, and then just my life in general. So this project it's my experience as a Mexican American here in the United States. So it's kind of me giving that Savage Bloodline is a history lesson.
Mm-hmm.
It's I'm talking from the perspective of an Aztec, if I'm actually a first person in Aztec. So I talk about the conquistadores came from Spain and try to conquer us and give us new names. So how they forced them to assimilate and took their like religion, like they glorified idols and stuff like that, and they told them that they had to believe in like a God and the Bible. So I kind of wanted to show like it's kind of like a story. Like at the end of the day, I'm like a storyteller. So that's what I want people to take from it too. Like, and then to become like they want to go and research their own culture and heritage, because I think everybody should do that and like get to know where you come from and be proud of it. So that's kind of what I wanted to give.
And this year's been pretty heavy as far as politically, through social interactions or lack of interactions, the Black Lives Matter movement. Being in Southern California, we have a lot of things that actually affect us down here, from the Kumeyaay Indian lands and the borders to the border issues with ICE and things of that. And then we've got just the whole Proud Boys and things that go on in that manner. So there's a lot of dynamics that San Diegans really get affected by. How were you affected, if you're able to say, throughout this last year? Because it's December 5th, 16th, so it's almost the end of 2020, and we went into lockdown March 17th, I think it was. So it's been almost... Wow, it's been almost 7 months. Yeah, like tomorrow it will be 7 months.
It's the anniversary, yeah.
Wow.
That's
so
crazy.
7 months of quarantine. How has that been for you? I mean,
it's
personally, spiritually, artistically?
I think my music has kept me sane, honestly, because there's a lot of stuff like that for sure, like the Black Lives Matter movement, the protests with everything, you know, like cops murdering like black and brown people, you know, like that definitely inspired this project. So that's why at the end, I think it's one of the tracks you guys will play, Dolores Huerta. I have the Si Se Puede chant, was like yes we can chant in Spanish, to kind of give like a positive thing, like hopefully kind of like it's gonna be, you know, like all right, like by Kendrick Lamar. So I wanted to give that. So that definitely did impact me. I went to a couple protests like at the beginning when they first started. It was kind of crazy. Like I remember the first one we went to was me, my sister Yazi, Braxton, and it was like crazy because they had like the National Guards there. It was intense. We were like running away, trying to like not get caught, and so it was crazy. Like that, like for me to like have witnessed that was like a crazy thing to see, because some of them, the cops didn't care. They were like throwing tear gas when everybody was being peaceful. You know, it was crazy. So that definitely impacted. And I think that's one of the reasons why this project came about too, because all of that. And then I do mention too about, you know, ICE with like my people, not necessarily all Mexicans, because a lot of people misinterpret that it's all Mexicans in cages, but it's like everybody, like Hondurans, Guatemalans, refugees from other countries. So I do mention that,
like Latinos in general.
Yeah, Latinos, and even like from other countries too, you know. So so I wanted to put that. So in generational curses, I do talk about that, where it's like, you know, the trauma that's been passed down through generations, and people like, you know, went from lynchings to being murdered and out in cages, you know. So
so how do you see yourself maneuvering through life in 2021, now that, you know, today is the day, or was it yesterday was the day that they started administering the vaccines, and you know, we're going to go into 2021, a new year, and how do you just feel like you want to maneuver yourself through 2021?
I'm just like going with the flow. I try not to think about it too much. I don't watch the news because it's so negative and it tries to scare people. So I don't even like pay attention to that. I'm just kind of doing me and just going with the flow. And hopefully like next year it's, you know, better. I know they're doing like live streaming and stuff like that, but it's not the same because I'm like a huge like concert addict. I would go to concerts all the time, so it's kind of sad.
And movies too, movie theaters.
And movie theaters, yeah. So those were my top two things, and like they're taken away. So music was like my only like way out, and then my podcast and everything else. So.
And tell us a little bit about your podcast. So you've been doing that for about a year now? Yeah,
it's going to be like technically like kind of like a year and a half or so. So I started, it was an audio podcast, Nightmare on Sedgwick Avenue. So I try to get guests there either in the hip hop community or horror community. Last year I only did hip hop because I was still trying to, you know, get my foot in the door in the hip hop scene here in San Diego. And then my goal for 2020 was like, I need to get more like horror community people, like directors, you know, actors, whatever I can get my hands on. And I reached out to people through like social media. So that's been like a big big place for me to grow my platform. So I've had like I just interviewed recently. It's going to drop on Monday, the 21st of December. I interviewed Edwin Pagan, who runs Latin horror. So he has like a platform similar to mine, but his is like a little bit bigger. And he kind of puts the Latin community like in the horror community in like the forefront. So I interviewed him. He's also a director and photographer, so it's pretty cool. He's like based out of New York. And then I've had I had another director too who just did Murder in the Woods. Luis Garza, he had Danny Trejo in that movie. It was like all Latino horror film cast, so it was cool to get him on. He was like independent filmmaker from Mexico too, so I don't know where he's based out of, but I know he's like Mexican, so it's pretty dope to like have that. So I'm trying to get my feet on both worlds, because I love those two genres. And yeah, like I've been trying to grow it. It's been good this year actually, even though like I said all the crazy shit that's going on. It still kind of actually allowed me to be able to like focus more on the podcast and stuff like that, and get everything like Zoom. I've been doing like video interviews before it was audio, so it turned into like a video podcast now.
Dope. And how often do you do that? Or I mean, they're pre-recorded, so how often do you release them, I guess?
So right now I'm trying to do like at least twice or three times a month.
Okay.
Yeah.
So about every week or so?
Yeah. So I do them like on the weekends, and then I'll drop them during the week. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. And where can people follow you to make sure that they tap in and turn their notifications on, not just for you, but the things that you're doing? Sure,
yeah. So social media is 7 Octoberz, so the number 7, and then Octoberz with the Z at the end and 7S on all social media. And then my website, I just revamped it. So it's nightmareonsedgwick.com. And then I'm going to create 7octobersagain.com, but that'll be my artist page. So I kind of want to like separate the two.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have them separate.
Yeah.
And do you still keep your alias of 7 Octoberz when you are on Nightmare on Sedgwick?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Okay. So your 7 Octoberz, one is just more of a professional aspect of 7 Octoberz, and more is more of your artistic.
Exactly.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So with this album, again, you said it came out on November 20th. Is there a reason for that? Was it purposeful, or was it just how distribution worked, or why?
Yeah, so I always try to like be purposeful and strategic for everything I do.
I love it. I love it.
So yeah, so November 20th, because I was still working with Kelsey Ray like a few weeks before it dropped. And I was like, come on, when are we gonna finish? You know, and I was like, I need to pick like something that's like with the Mexican and Chicano culture. So like my first single was Jaguar Warrior. Shout out to Speakeasy, he did the beat on that. And I dropped that on September 16th, which for those that know, it's like Mexican Independence Day. So I did that strategically, and then I was like, okay, my release date has to do with something, you know, Mexican holiday or whatever I can. And I Googled like anything in November, and the Mexican Revolution was in 1910 with like Emiliano Zapata and all that stuff. So I was like, that's a perfect date. And it was a Friday too. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we're going to take a quick break to the music, and we've got a couple more tracks that we want to showcase for you before we wrap up the interview, our exclusive interview here with 7 Octoberz. Now, we've got Generational Curses and Dolores Huerta, I believe, are the two that are left. Correct, DJ? Perfect. Dolores Huerta, tell us a little bit about that song.
Yeah, so Dolores Huerta, for those not familiar, she is an activist. She was actually like sister-in-law with Cesar Chavez. She was married to his brother, but she's like a huge like activist that fought for farmers' rights. So she's like an OG. So I wanted to dedicate that to her because I had just watched her documentary that dropped like a few years ago. She actually came to San Diego and talked about it. So I wanted to pay homage to her and kind of like homage to her culture, like, you know, women and stuff like that. So it's like kind of like a woman empowerment. So it's more of a poem, like a spoken word. If you listen to it, it's more spoken words, not like a rap track. But I love that one, and that's the one that has the Si Se Puede chant, which she actually came up with the Si Se Puede slogan, and Obama asked her to borrow it for Yes We Can for his campaign when he became president. So it's kind of cool.
Awesome.
So women are the shit, you know.
Oh man, I keep saying that. We're ready to take the throne back. Okay, and you've got your female Jaguar Warrior on here. I'm ready to put in the album, to stream the album, however you want to tap in with the album, and get my Wonder Woman on, really.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Roscoe, do me a favor and play that. Play Dolores Huerta for us, please. And then we can get into Generational Curses for our pop off for the songs tonight. Dolores Huerta. 7 October.
Una mujer con valores, chicana, fighting for a purpose, a leader who's determined. Me dicen Dolores, una mujer con valores, chicana, fighting for a purpose, a leader who's determined. Me dicen Dolores, una mujer con valores, chicana, fighting for a purpose, a leader who's determined. Me dicen Dolores, una mujer con valores, tuve que pelear para que me respeten. Vengo de un linaje de mujeres fuertes. Sacrificaron sus vidas para nuestra gente. Marcharon y organizaron huelgas para cambiar leyes. Dolores Huerta is a living legend. Beaten but still used her voice as a weapon. Defended our people from oppression. Gave the movement direction. She gave hope to the hopeless. Voice to the voiceless. Giving her roses. The female Moses. Even Cesar Chavez knew her purpose. A Chicana with inspirational motive. Led a cultural revolution and fought for social justice. She always chose words over violence. Never afraid to speak her mind, far from silent. Even when brown people were being lynched and hunted. Witnessed the death of our future when RFK died. They killed our heroes and our allies. Yet we still fight. Our greatness can't be denied. We've been humiliated but survived. We embody brown pride. The media sells you lies, feeds you negative stereotypes. Brown is beautiful, we are divine. We are gods and goddesses, it's in our bloodline. We are meant to thrive. We are the rose that grew from the concrete that stayed alive. We can never die.
Man, it was almost like you didn't have to do a closing.
I know.
That was the perfect one. Shout out to the whole team, the collective, for helping to put together this project. And, of course, to you for putting out such amazing and inspirational art.
Thank you.
So make sure you tap in with 7 Octoberz for her sophomore album. 7 tracks, Chicana Part 1, Savage Bloodline, is track number 2. Number 3, Satanico Pandemonium. Number 4, Jaguar Warrior. Number 5, La Morenita. 6, Generational Curses. And 7, Dolores Huerta. You just heard 4 of those tracks. We just finished with Generational Curses. Dope track. Very inspiring. It represents a lot of the energies that were stemming from this year, and also just her heritage and being a survivor and a warrior and a savage and making her way to this platform. So we definitely appreciate your time and your talent for coming out here to the Go Ham Radio studio, checking us out for a quick pop-up little interview that we did here to tap into your latest EP, actually, with the 7 tracks. And why don't you let them know, again, where they can find you, find the music, and maybe catch you next.
Sure. Thank you again for having me, though. I appreciate you guys here at Go Ham Radio. You guys always supported me from the get-go, so I appreciate that. It means a lot. And anybody can look me up on Instagram, Facebook under 7 Octoberz, again 7, and then Octoberz with a Z instead of an S at the end. My website, Nightmare on Sedgwick Avenue, or actually nightmareonsedgwick.com. For anything as far as like my blog and my podcast, I put the videos there, but you can also look me up on YouTube. I'm trying to grow that channel, so 7 Octoberz, same thing.
Subscribe, y'all. Go subscribe.
Yeah. And yeah, that's my latest content. And then platformcollection.com too. We have dope shows. Also Platform Collection on YouTube, because I have a Nightmare Cinema show that I review horror movies. So if you guys have horror fans out there, follow me there as well.
Dope. And where can they find you next? What are you doing next? Do you have anything on the bill?
Right now I'm just doing kind of like promos. I'm doing interviews. So shout out to 86 Inca. I'm going to be doing an interview in person as well up in the Inland Empire on Saturday. And I'm not sure when that's going to drop, but that's coming up. And then, yeah, just working on the blog, the podcast, and I have a lot of dope guests coming next year. So stay tuned.
Ooh, tap in. Oh, and I think I remember you've got an interview dropping that you did with Get to Know Me podcast on Saturday.
You're
Isn't
right.
that dropping on Saturday?
Yes, thanks for reminding me. Shout out to Busy.
Yeah. Hey, what's up? So make sure you're tapping into 7 Octoberz. She's got a lot going on a promo run. And if you go to her Instagram, 7 Octoberz, go to her link. Her link has connects to everywhere from her iTunes to her Spotify to prior interviews. It's dope. Go check it out. Again, 7 Octoberz, 7, the number 7, Octoberz with a Z. check her out. Her latest album, From Chibaba to Atitlan.
Aslan. You're
Please
close.
say it. Please say
It's
it.
from Chibalba to Aslan.
Thank you. Parental advisory for those that need to know. Tap in. We're excited to see what you've got coming into 2021. Wow, I can't believe I'm even saying that right now. Where did 2020 go? So, yes, definitely look out for her in 2021. Lots to come from her, Spooky Gang, and the whole crew, especially San Diego. You know, we got women out here doing some things. So make sure you also tap into Go Ham Radio's Phenomenal Women event that we've got coming up on Sunday, January 10th from noon to 3. Ladies only, 16 years of age and older. Come on out. $10 pre-sale, $15 at the door. You can get your tickets on Eventbrite or on our website, or just hit the link in our bio and you'll be able to find that out. Just go to the tickets where it says for Phenomenal Women. We definitely would love to have 7 Octoberz come and tap in with us. Phenomenal Women over here.
I need to check that out. Yeah.
So definitely come check it out. It's going to be a great event. I'm Miss Fancy Pants. Thank you for tapping in with us tonight on another exclusive interview here on GoHamRadio.com. Thank you, DJ Roscoe, for giving us the vibes for tonight. And, of course, the 7 Octoberz for her time and her talent. I'm Miss Fancy Pants. We'll tap in with you again. Make sure you're following all of our shows on GoHamRadio.com. Peace.
Peace, everybody.
I want to take this time to say my thank yous and dedications. I dedicate this EP to my Mexican culture, my ancestors, mi familia, mi gente mexicana y chicana. Brown is beautiful. To all the women, we are powerful. To my Platform Collection team, Spooky Gang fam, all the dope producers on this EP. Special thanks to Kelsey for mentoring me through this and the amazing mixing and mastering. And to everyone who's supporting this project. I appreciate you all.
This has been a GoHamRadio.com exclusive.